not the best packaging in the world. Yeah. Onwards. Hello, James here from Replica Reviews, and today we are looking at the new Sig Sauer 516 air rifle. Now, this is pretty new out on the market. I've been lucky enough to get my hands on it, thanks to the guys down at Pull the Trigger in Plymouth. They managed to get one in pretty swift, and as you can see, it's quite a nice looking bit of kit. Now, it's not one of the heaviest rifles in the world, as I'm sure you can see from the screen. It is pretty much all plastic, but it's, you know, a lot of people go, plastic, run away. It's actually quite good. It's pretty solid. A couple of little wobbles here and there on the stock here, but for anybody that's used an AR-15 or an M4 variant, you know that these often wobble anyway, obviously because it's collapsible. This one here, you got inwards, it's notched, you've got a half position, and then you've got full extension. So you've got a free piece or a free stage crane stop, which is really quite nice. Grip is pretty generic, to be honest. It's a comfortable one to hold. It's got a little indent here just for you to tuck your fingers on, and it is quite nice. The mag release catch as well is on this side, as you're very familiar rifle to use. Now the magazine is just quite a basic thing really, but it's quite an interesting little design. Rather than just using a normal 30 round mag, you can pour 200 BBs into one of these, close the lid back across like that, bring it down to the rear, wiggle it around a little bit, and it fills up with 30. So you've essentially got a 200 round high cap or 250 round high cap, but you get 30 at a time. Now from experience, I just find it easier to lob 30 in. It gets a little bit, what's the word, tedious, trying to wiggle it around, trying to fill it in. But apart from that, it's pretty spot on. Now one thing I will mention, when you're loading the magazine into the rifle, quite a lot of people are going, it don't fit, it won't go in, run away. However, what you need to do is just hold the button in, push it in, so it won't go in unless you're holding the magazine release catch, which is fair enough, but it's just one thing to remember. Obviously you don't want to go slamming it into the gun, breaking off the top of the magazine. Really nice little feature on this is the flip up rear sight as well. As you can see, it just pops up and then is released by this little button here, just goes straight back down. It's a nice little feature. When it is up in the position, you've got two options. You've got it on the, what I call your long range, so your bigger dot, or if you want to bring it down a little bit, there's a slightly more refined, smaller hole. It's got quite a nice look to it. It's what I would call just quite a generic AR-15 look, really. As you can see, I've acquired an L85 rifle sling that I fitted on. Now I didn't have sling mounts for this, so I've kind of bodged it on the rear of the stock and just put it in above the barrel here. But apart from that, it fits really nicely. It's quite a nice little feature, but we'll go on and talk about that later on. You got a rail here. The idea, I was going to get an EOTech for this. I couldn't find one really without trying to either rob a bank with this and then I'd probably lose it and wouldn't have a gun to put the EOTech on, or they were just, you know, they weren't really worth having. You got a quad rail on the front here, one on the top, two on the sides, one on the bottom. You get an angled foregrip, or they do an actual Sig Sauer branded foregrip, which has got like a strobe light on it, a 200 lumen lamp I think it is, and what they call like a target designator laser. So more for just pointing at stuff, which obviously if you're running around the countryside with one of these, you're probably not going to have air support, so I'm not really sure how much use that's going to be. The front sight is metal, as is the outer barrel. These are really the only bits that you will notice are metal. Little bit of a wobble here. When I got it out of the box, it's held on with a little grub screw. It just needed loosening off, straightening back up, and then tightening back up. But apart from that, it's been absolutely spot on. Flash hider as well. Again, it's non-functioning as you'd imagine from an air rifle really. But apart from that, it's pretty much spot on. And it's got a bayonet lug. For anybody that, you know, can't hit a barn door with an air rifle and just wants to get it a quick ram in with a bayonet, it might fit, might not, I don't know. It's fully licensed. If I move the sling out the way, you can see hopefully it's got the Sig Sauer markings on the side. Apart from that, nothing really functions. Charging handle doesn't move. Forward assist is just moulded plastic, and the ejection cover, the ejection dust port, whatever you want to call it, is again moulded on the side of the receiver. But apart from that, it's just nice to see something a little bit different. Now, it's not going to be for everybody, this rifle. It is quite plastic fantastic, and I have to say, when we were loading it up earlier on, I had a quick go. It's about -2 at the moment with the wind chill, so unfortunately we're not getting many shots per CO2. But the shots that I did get were they were quite laboured. For 120 quid, this gun retails at the moment anyway. Cybergun announced that it was going to be 120 quid. I'm sure it's going to go up to about 150 because it's, you know, although it's plastic, it's an awful lot of gun for 120 quid. So I dare say retailers are going to put the prices up. You know, they may already have, I don't know. But for the money that you get, as a model or as a replica, it's a nice piece. As something to fire and use, to be completely honest, I'm not sold. The trigger, with the way the magazine works, is there's a little rod that goes through here, and that just pushes the ball bearing into the barrel, and then it's projected off in the near distance. Unless the magazine is in just the right place, it kind of feels like you're trying to push like a brick through the mechanism, which isn't ideal, but you know, it's workable, you can live with it. The safety catch on this side as well, if I just move the sling out the way for you, is functioning. Much like an AR-15 safety catch, you don't have your fully automatic, unfortunately. You've got it in the safe position here, swip it round here, and then it's a double action trigger. Now, it doesn't work with the magazine in, so if I just take that out, you can see it's double action only. I can't cock it to make it single, and there's no blowback, so it's not gonna cock itself. So it's just a double action trigger. Put it back into safe, and it just locks the trigger up. As you can see, it doesn't function. Bring that round, and it functions. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you how to load the CO2. Now, this is made a little bit more difficult by the fact that I've put a sling on the rifle. So I'm just going to pull this through. There's a little button on the back. Push the button in, twist the stock 45 degrees, and it falls off. And then you simply unscrew this, put your CO2 cartridge in, and you're ready to go. You could almost use it as a little short barrel pistol carbine thing if you're feeling particularly tactical. But if you're normal like everybody else, you would want to put the stock back on. So what we're going to do, load it up. I'll put a couple of BBs in the magazine, and we'll just show you a quick couple of clips of this thing firing. Wow, all of that, and there's only 6 BBs in here. Fuck, this is tedious. Wow, that's literally 15 ball bearings. That's not going to get annoying. Alright guys, so here we are. We've got the magazine loaded. I've got my rear flip-up sight flipped up, and I'm just going to abuse something over there just to show you how it functions. Now, as I said earlier, this is a semi-automatic only double-action trigger. I've loaded as many BBs as I could get in. As you may have just seen from the clips, it's a little bit tedious and somewhat difficult to actually load the magazine, which is a little bit of a downside. And now that it is loaded, I've still got another 100 and something rounds in here. It does sound a bit like an airsoft gun, as you can probably hear. It sounds like I'm running around with a maraca. I'm not a fan of that, but you know, if it means I can just quickly bring the spring back down and reload it quick, then I'm all for it. So what we're going to do is just move the sling out of the way, put it in the fire, and fire away. So as you can see, with this gun, what I found so far, unless the magazine is in just the right place, it doesn't actually return the trigger. So you just have to wiggle it round and bring it back. So yeah, that's a little bit of a downer with this one, so just quickly take the mag out of that. Only got a couple of BBs left anyway, and just give a quick conclusion. Now, overall, if you're looking for a piece that, you know, looks good, you can put a sling on it. I mean, you can put all these tactical bits and pieces on this and make it look really amazing, then it's definitely worth looking at and getting one of these. If you want something that you can actually use as a day-to-day shooter, something that you can actually get some pretty good groupings for, then I would not recommend this gun. The plastic construction isn't going to be to everybody's taste, but it is quite solid. When it fits into your shoulder, you know, much like any AR would, it does feel quite familiar. It's a nice feeling gun, but you know, it is just the plastic that lets it down. The licensed trademarks are a bit of a bonus. I mean, it just does add a little bit to the realism, and the fire selector is nice and simple to use. You can see I'm wearing these MacWet Climatech gloves here, and I can still function this gun to do pretty much whatever I want with it without any hassle at all. So it's you know, for anybody who's used to one of these before, it's incredibly familiar. You just got to get over the fact that it's plastic, which I know for a lot of people would be quite difficult. The barrel here is obviously metal, as I said. That's quite nice. It's a nice feature. Obviously this is the bit, if you're going to poke it in the ground or knock it, you know, everybody says, oh, you know, I'm never going to do it. It happens. You know, we've all done it. Collapsible stock as well is a bonus. It will fit anybody, whether you be really small, slightly small, or adult size. So you know, it's going to do everybody absolutely fine, and the flip up sight is really nice and easy to use as well. Apart from that, it's quite basic. So, you know, if you want to save up your money and get something really realistic, for 120 quid you can buy like a Sig Sauer X5 or the S55, whatever they're calling it these days, the Cybergun, the KWC unbranded version, and you get a full metal blowback pistol which will offer you all the realism you could ever want. Now, Sig Sauer have announced at SHOT Show the week just gone that they are actually going to be releasing their own range, if you want to call it that, of rifles, pistols. There's going to be a new 226 and a couple of what I would describe as carbines. They've got a PCP carbine and one that looks like this that uses CO2. So I would personally hold your money and wait for that to come out, as apparently it's going to be as realistic as the actual real steel itself. So I'm really holding my breath for there. Hopefully I can get hold of Sig Sauer, see if we can get one to us pretty quick, and hopefully get a decent review of it. I hope you've enjoyed the review. I know it's not necessarily the world's most positive review. I know, you know, from experience, a lot of people want me to sit for like 12 minutes, 6 minutes, however long, and say, oh my god, it's the best thing since sliced bread. But sometimes a gun comes along and, I mean, it serves a purpose, but apart from that, it doesn't do much else. It's going to be a good back garden plinker, good for just having a little bit of a play, and even good if you just want to learn weapon safety and just how to act and handle with one of these things. So I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you want to see some more pictures, pop over to our Facebook page. I'll get all of the album with some really nice shots here. My brother's sat behind the camera. He's pretty handy with one of these cameras, so he's hopefully going to get some shots of this. So thank you very much for watching. All that's really left to say is if you've got any questions, any comments, post them down below in the comments box, and feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.